response to COVID-19. Lindy, are you ready to make your presentation?
I sure am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just pull up my presentation for you guys.
Mr. Chairman, Paul Gedge here. I need to request a break for a few moments. We are having a technical difficulty with sound on the broadcast. If we could pause.
Certainly. Guess we all just sit tight. I just want to bring one thing up while we're waiting. We did have one individual made some comments, and they were for the amendment.
Just a note to everyone, as I'm working through this issue, this microphone feed via the video conference may be live at any moment with the public. Please be professional in all comments. I'll be back in just a minute.
Thank you, Paul. And Carl, while we're having this quick break, I just want to make sure that you're able to talk now.
Yes, I can hear you. Just been muted. Hopefully you can hear me.
Loud and clear. Thank you much, Carl.
Again, this is Paul providing support for this live broadcast and recording. Mr. Chairman, it looks like we are ready to proceed again. It would be my counsel if you'd please summarize what was just visual. We did have captions going at the start of the meeting on our YouTube broadcasts, but if you would give a brief update.
Okay.
Live in just 1 second. Mr. Chairman, we are back on YouTube.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody for their attendance today. Donnie Hunter has joined since we were down. Just a quick recap is that we went through the roll call and we have 100% of the board members are present. On the public opportunity to comment, that closed last night at midnight, we had one comment from the public, and it was positive. They support the division's recommendation. On our agenda, we are down to agenda item number 2, R657-57, Division Variance Rule Amendments in response to COVID-19. Lindy Varney will be presenting this for us. Lindy, if you're ready, go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Lindy Varney. I am the licensing coordinator for the Division of Wildlife. This morning, I will be presenting proposed amendments to the Division Variance Rule R657-57. Let's see if I can change the slide. Okay, so a little bit of history on what a variance is. The variance rule authorizes the division to grant relief to hunters who cannot obtain or use their hunting permit because of an event or condition beyond their control, such as illness or injury to the permit holder, illness, injury, or death to immediate family member, or military deployment or mobilization. With this variance, if approved, the division is able to restore bonus or preference points and waive the waiting period for the following types of permits: general season, limited entry, public CWMU, and once in lifetime permits. We also have the ability to grant a season extension for the same or similar hunt in the next year for the following types of permits: once in a lifetime, conservation, private limited entry landowner, poaching reported reward, hunt expo, and private CWMU permits. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the associated restrictions, some hunters may not be able to use their hunting permits. So the division is recommending adding COVID-19 personal health concerns or general public health restrictions imposed by the federal government, a state or local government to the list of qualifying events or conditions the variance can grant relief to. To qualify for this type of variance, the hunter must either have a physician's written statement explaining and verifying that underlying health conditions place the applicant at risk of life-threatening COVID-19 complications if contracted, or participation in the permitted activity will significantly increase the applicant's risk of contracting COVID-19. Or they must provide a photocopy of the laws, orders, or directives related to COVID-19 issued by the federal, state, or local governments that prevent the applicant from participating in the permitted activity. So in summary, by adding COVID-19 to the list of qualifying events or conditions, the division can offer variance relief to affected hunters by reinstating bonus or preference points and waive the waiting periods for general season, limited entry, public CWMU, and once in lifetime permits. We also will be able to grant season extensions to the same or similar hunt in the next year for once in lifetime, conservation, private limited entry landowner, poaching reported reward, hunt expo, and private CWMU permits. Thank you. That's it. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them for you.
Lindy, this is Carl.
Hi.
I didn't hear limited entry in the options, the last options you gave. There was a long list there, but as far as like limited entry bear tags for this spring, I didn't hear that. Did I just miss that?
They would be in the ones that we can restore their bonus points and waive the waiting period. Limited entry permits of all types of species.
Okay, so that's not something that we could extend till next year or refund their money?
Not this time, no. The rule just says limited entry, we're able to make them whole again. And that's how currently the variance rule has always been.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Director, could you speak to that, please?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. Thank you. We did offer an early surrender before this, well, actually after the season started, for bear hunters who haven't had an opportunity and wanted to surrender and get their points and their money back. And we offered that up. They had to apply by today, actually, I think, if they want to get that. And we've had many people take us up on that for turkey and for spring bear. So they were afforded an opportunity if they felt like they weren't going to be able to get out to surrender their tags now and get their points and their money back.
Thank you. Any other
This
questions?
Carl again. This is Carl again, but an individual that lucked out in the bonus draw and drew with maybe 1 or 2 points would not be. He basically had to luck out again to get that tag.
Correct, Carl.
I totally agree, Carl. And we're not done with this issue. We're being cautious on refund issuance right now, but we'll revisit that at a later point. I think we've been looking at that issue. I know we've been looking at that issue. Marty and Lindy and the folks in licensing have been looking at that issue. We may come back with another recommendation, but we weren't ready to do a refund part of this today.
Okay.
Thanks, Director. Any other questions from the board? Hearing no questions, I'll take a motion from the board. Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
Carl, this is Carl. I'll take a swing at it. I will make the motion that we approve it as presented, but I believe that we need to extend those hunts for limited entry that lucked out and would like to extend it to next year.
This is Randy. I'll second that.
I got somebody's, there we go. I have a motion and a second. I'm going to do a roll call. I'm gonna start with,
Can I ask a discussion on the motion?
yes, go ahead, Kevin.
So when you say look at it, are you making the motion that we do approve that they, or the division just looks into that?
Well, this is Carl. I think they should extend it. So I will put it in the motion that if even on a limited entry tag that they lose, they can extend into next year on that.
Can we get a clarification from the division on that, on your motion?
Hey,
Marty.
Byron, this is Marty Bushman. One of the things we did, just so you kind of know the history, for those that weren't around the variance rule, when we first did this, we had season extensions given rather liberally. And it got into so many issues and so many people extending into the next year and creating complications that after that rule had been in place about 2 years or 3 years, the board came back and narrowed it down to kind of where it is now, that public, limited entry permits obtained through the public drawing weren't going to get season extensions, and we were trying to keep it to the permits that basically bonus points and weren't relevant to, which is your conservation permits, and once in a lifetime were included, even though those were there just because of the difficulty of getting them. So this would require us to kind of revamp the rule and rewrite it in different ways. And the question I'd have is, if we're going to allow limited entry permits to have season extensions, are they going to extend only to those people who were precluded from hunting because of COVID-19 concerns, or is it going to be any of the other criteria, mobilization, deployment in the military, illness, injury, so forth? And
Marty, this is Carl. I would the only time I want it is for this COVID emergency. The other situations I think are different.
okay,
This is Randy. I agree with that. I'd like to see it just for the ones that drew permits this year or going to draw them for this year.
Do you want to amend your motion, Carl? And Randy, your second?
Yeah, we'll take a swing at it, that we approve it as is, with the addition that limited entry tags are offered an extension if they were unable to hunt during the COVID-19 closures.
Stacy, you get that?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a clarification on the motion?
Yes.
What would be the requirements that would preclude them, that would require COVID-19 to preclude them from hunting? Do we need to define that better?
This is Carl. At least my opinion was, if they showed us a photocopy of an area being closed and they were unable to access, that would be enough. But I don't know exactly.
That or a letter from their doctor saying that they could be sick or was, or did have it.
And I would agree with that.
So, Randy, Carl, is our main focus to, we all hope within 45, 60 days the dust is settled on this, but is our main focus these spring hunts, bear, turkey primarily? My fear is we get into the later hunts when we have thousands of limited entry permits, deer and elk and once in a lifetime hunts, that could cause a pretty, if we allow everyone to hunt in 2021 that drew in 2020.
And I guess in my mind, I'm thinking they would be less hunters this year, as many hunters next year.
And Wade, my focus is right now on these spring and turkey. If this goes into the fall, though, I think we need to. I think we need to look at that also. Somebody draws an elk tag and cannot go. We probably need to push it a year.
So I guess could I make the recommendation then, Carl? I could be on board with the idea if we put a time limit on who would be eligible for this. Hunts that happen before June 15th or something like that, because I fear the way the motion's worded now, it leaves it open-ended into those fall hunts. And I seriously, I have a hard time with that. People draw a limited entry hunt and next year there are twice as many people hunting as would normally be. I think that takes away from their experience a little bit.
Okay. Marty, is there a way to do that? We'll put a time limit on it, and then if this extends into the fall, we address it again?
Yes, yeah, I mean, we could just have this thing sunset in June, or at least for seasons that were lost prior to June or July, and then address it later in the year, depending on how the COVID-19 matter progresses and what restrictions we have in place in the fall, if any.
Is there somebody with the division? I'm not sure I know all those dates that can recommend a sunset for this.
So this is Lindy. The Summer Bear opens up on May 29th. And that would be your next hunt that's approaching. Turkey opens up tomorrow. And then Spring Bear's already going on right now. And then after that, you've got more of your upland game and big game hunting coming up in the fall.
So that Summer Bear, what's the end date for the Summer Bear? Well, I guess we ought to do it at the start of the Summer Bear anyway, right?
Summer Bear ends June 28th.
Thank you, Byron. I had to pull out my guidebook too.
I got mine on my desk.
I think a date of July 1st would work fine.
Okay.
I will amend the motion that it'll be for hunts that end by July 1st.
Sounds good.
I can support that.
Okay, Stacy, do you have that down?
So what I have, Chairman, is Carl's made a motion to approve as presented with the addition that limited entry hunts occurring prior to July 1st are included in the season extensions due to COVID-19.
Okay. Carl, is that correct?
Yes.
Any other questions on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, is Randy's second going to stand for that as well?
Randy?
Yes.
Okay. With that, there's no more questions. We'll call for a vote via roll call again. Hearing no questions, Kevin?
Aye.
Carl Hurst?
Aye.
Wade Heaton?
Aye.
Aye.
Johnny Hunter?
Aye.
The motion's unanimous. It passes as presented and amended. We'll move to our next agenda item, which is other business. There is no other business at this time. Our next board meeting, again, is April 30th. Hopefully we'll be at a little bit easier to do that meeting. Maybe we'll be back in the division's office in Salt Lake if things work out. Hearing nothing on other business, I'd entertain a motion to close this meeting.
Byron, I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Thanks, Donnie. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Carl, second it.
Carl seconds the motion. I'll roll call again. Kevin Albrecht? Kevin? Unmute.
There you go. Yeah, I approve.
Okay. Carl Hurst,
Aye.
Wade Heaton,
Aye.
Brett Selman,
Aye.
Donnie Hunter,
Aye.
Randy Dirth.
Yes.
It's unanimous. At this time, we'll go ahead and close this meeting. Look forward to seeing you all on April 30th under better terms and conditions than what we have today. So stay safe. Enjoy your Easter weekend. Thank you all.
Thank
Back
you.
at you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.